Welcome to Homegrown, where we showcase the people and stories shaping the character of life here in Arkansas. I'm Dawn Scott. This episode is all about legacies, lives, and accomplishments which will live on to be remembered for generations to come, including a nostalgic look at someone few associate with Arkansas, the celebrated novelist Ernest Hemingway. We'll visit the University of Central Arkansas as they honor their Hall of Fame alum, Scottie Pippen. We'll hear from Mary Steenburgen, small-town girl turned Hollywood star, and we'll explore the special relationship between UAPB and the greatest, Muhammad Ali. All before reliving one of the most inspirational and poignant legacies in Arkansas high school sports, the final season of the Carver Cobras. Rising from the small town of Hamburg, Arkansas, to earn 6 NBA titles and an induction into the Hall of Fame is an unlikely path for Scottie Pippen. He recently returned to the University of Central Arkansas to commemorate his basketball legacy.
We're back at the Fair Center at the University of Central Arkansas, and it should be a great one tonight. There's another good crowd on hand. The guy the fans come out to see, and probably the most outstanding basketball player in the Arkansas Intercollegiate Conference, is the Bears center, Scottie Pippen. 68-56 Bears lead. They get it to Pippen on the breakaway.
Just the story of Scottie Pippen is pretty remarkable. Someone that came to school here to be a manager on our basketball team and then grows 7 inches, between his freshman year and his probably junior year and becomes an All-American basketball player.
I was wanting to get the opportunity to play at an NCAA school, so I spoke to a few teams, and I sit back and thought that Scottie Pippen wouldn't have been a Scottie Pippen at another school. I'd just been another player. Right now, I have the opportunity playing in the NBA.
Have you met Michael Jordan yet?
No, I haven't met him, but I think that when we get the chance to meet up, that we're going to work together.
Scottie on the drive, beats Vinny Johnson with a behind the back move. Left corner, Jordan, Michael fires. Brimming, no! It's off the rim. Jump back in by Scottie Pippen.
How do you feel about being back in Arkansas, and how much has your life changed in the last couple of weeks since you won the championship?
Well, I feel great. I mean, it's always great to come back home and see your friends.
It's a great story, and it doesn't happen frequently, but it tells you that it can happen, and it can happen anywhere. Our men's basketball coaches asked me, can we name the court after Scottie Pippen? They were like, well, we're going to be fully ESPN compliant moving forward, and we think it would be great for us as a university to highlight the fact that Scottie Pippen went to school here every time we have a game. And we want to have a Scottie Pippen camp. We just want to get him back in the fold. We think this would be good for our program and recruiting, and so it just worked out perfectly to have his signature and name on this court. We had 250 campers here on our court, and it's a Monday morning. We all said a few words, and when we introduced Scottie, his head coach, Don Dyer, had passed away recently, so we didn't realize, but he had all these pent-up emotions inside, and when he started discussing the fact that his alma mater had named their basketball court after him, he really delivered a great heartfelt speech.
Thank you. This is tough for me. I want to thank my coaches, Coach Dye, who passed away a few weeks ago.
I think that Coach Dyer's philosophy helped me a great deal because I feel that it was him that made me. He gave me the opportunity, and it was up to me to make the best of it.
To be a part of the University of Central Arkansas, it was a dream for me to play in the NBA, to have the opportunity to play college ball. This university gave me the opportunity. Then the guy, my life. This is my family. Thank you. women's gym and weight room. I put in the work and I wanted to be remembered when I left here. And this is a great way of being honored for it.
Scottie Pippen left Arkansas after being drafted 5th overall to the NBA in 1987. And while Pippen's journey from Hamburg to Chicago seems unlikely, Ernest Hemingway's arrival in Piggott, Arkansas seems equally improbable. Let's check it out.
Well, there are lots of stories about Ernest here locally. One of my favorite stories is when Ernest was riding in the barn, and this would have been before they finished it as the studio, and some kids from next door were peeking between the boards into the barn, and Ernest was not letting on that he saw, he was trying to focus on or whatever, and not letting on that he saw them, but they were staring at some skates on the wall behind him. And finally he said, well, you can just borrow them if you want to, and then handed them to them. Which a lot of the stories have to do with children in the community, because the school was located immediately next door to the property, and they seem to think of him as kind of a local grouch, I guess, but also I think it was a character he was putting on to have fun with them. The town did say that they thought of him as something of a hobo, because he would come from Key West, and here he was on vacation, and so he dressed like somebody would in Key West on vacation, so shorts and whatever. Definitely no tie and jacket, right? And that was not the standard in Piggott at the time, and so that definitely made him stand out.
That kind of backfired on him once, because he was in a bad wreck in Wyoming, and so he came back to Piggott to recuperate, and he looked awful. He was scruffy, he had a long beard, he had his arm in a sling, and looked really bad, and he was walking up from the town square back up the hill to the Pfeiffer's home, and the school kids saw him, and they thought he was one of the tramps that had gotten off the train and was coming up the hill looking for a handout, so they started pelting him with snowballs, and it was all he could do to block himself and get into the house before they completely knocked him down with their snowballs. He did go out hunting all the time with his brother-in-law Carl and others in town, and the locals tell the story that Hemingway refused to wear his glasses when they went hunting, and so he had poor eyesight and was a poor shot a lot of times when they were hunting quail. But he was so competitive that he refused to go in until he'd met his limit. So they would start shooting at the same time he was shooting to make him think that he was the one that was killing the bird, and then they would do that until he got his limit. So that's one story that the locals like to tell. Another story is, one story about A Farewell to Arms is that it was made into a movie. And the movie, the 1932 version, which starred Helen Hayes and Gary Cooper, premiered in New York and in Piggott. And Ernest was, the day of the premiere, Ernest was downtown at one of the local drugstores sitting at the counter, and he overheard these two women in town talking, and they were complaining because the movie that had been showing, which was Tarzan the Ape Man, had been taken off and wasn't running that night because they were running this new Hemingway Farewell to Arms, and they were complaining about it, and supposedly Hemingway got so mad that he came back and started drinking gin. He didn't go to the premiere, even though he was in town, because he also was in a fight with the studio over how they had wanted to end the movie. So he really was sometimes loved by the town of Piggott and sometimes hated.
I like to remind guests that when the town remembers this story, they're remembering it from after the divorce, and where where Pauline's family stayed a part of this community for decades. Local lore is colored a particular way.
Ernest Hemingway called many places home, from Paris to Pamplona, and incredibly, even Arkansas. Just as incredible was Muhammad Ali's unlikely visit to the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff and the special connection it fostered.
Now I know why young girls fell out about the Beatles. I did the same thing when Ali came to town. Only thing about it, I didn't pass out. I didn't pass out, but I was one happy camper.
For me to be feet away from him as he passed through downtown was amazing to me. It just kind of blew my mind.
They kept bumping up against me, and I would bump up against the car, bump up against the car. So finally he turned around, he looked down at me, he smiled, and then he reached down and pinched my cheek. When he pinched my cheek, I said, that's good enough for me.
One thing that inspires me a lot about Muhammad Ali is how outspoken he was. Even when he was persuaded to not be that way, he felt a strong conviction to always speak truth to power.
And he inspired individuals to let them know that that you could stand up for what you believed in. My grandmother loved Muhammad Ali. The only thing she wanted to know at the end is, did Ali win?
Meeting Ali was, it was up there. As a matter of fact, I still have his picture where I met him on my wall in my office.
It was extremely important because it's always important for our students to be able to see someone who looks like them, who has accomplished something in life, who has a positive life, and he was definitely known for that.
I've been to several historically black colleges, and nobody has been able to surpass what I've seen at UAPB at Homecoming.
Homecoming provides an opportunity for us to reconnect with each other, both with our classmates and my former students. I have an opportunity to see so many students who remember me, and I may remember faces and don't remember all the names. It also gives us an opportunity to see and talk about the accomplishments that the university has made since the time that we were here.
Family reunion, that's what it actually means. It's a family reunion. Get an opportunity to rekindle relationships.
When I was elected Miss UAPB, I mean, my mind was blown. Growing up, I was never a pageant girl. I actually made fun of pageant girls. But when I came to UAPB, it meant more than just a title to me. And so when I had the title, I felt like I could really make a difference in a greater way. And then to win the title of the #1 Ebony HBCU Campus Queen, I felt like that was great for my university as well in the HBCU world, to let them know that UAPB is here. We are still kicking in the South.
It's the time for those that receive much from the institution to give back to the institution. And that's what makes homecoming special to me. The most enjoyable moment in my life, especially during any homecoming, is to have the greatest to come back and help put the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff on the map.
For him to come to this campus multiple times, I think also speaks about what the mission of this university is and how they want to develop students who will also carry that torch when it may not be popular to do so. And that's definitely what my university did for me.
Coming to a small environment and seeing people that were just like you, who had a genuine concern for your welfare, not only as a student, but as a person. They were able to give you that confidence that you could succeed, even when you didn't even have all the resources available that you needed.
Homecomings like that can be monumental events for the people involved, but for many Arkansans, the decision to leave can be just as powerful. Mary Steenburgen grew up in North Little Rock, and for her, leaving Arkansas was a hard decision. Here's how she tells it.
I was born in Newport, Arkansas, but we actually moved to North Little Rock when I was 18 months old. I think I was just a typical kid who lived mostly out of doors in the summers and catching lightning bugs in the evenings. I wasn't one of these people that left where I came from because I thought there was something wrong with where I came from. I left it simply because the thing I wanted to do more than anything pulled me to New York, and that was the best place for me. So in New York, it was both terrifying and thrilling. I began to do comedy improv with a group of people who were also graduates from the neighborhood playhouse. And so I went to the casting director and we had a meeting and I said, "Are you casting anything in particular?" And she said, "I am. I was gonna tell you that it's a movie called Going South with Jack Nicholson." I had various meetings and then on the last day I did a screen test. Then I heard nothing for a couple more days and I had so run out of money. So I went to Paramount and I went to their offices and I said, "Could you give me the one night's hotel bill that you owe me in cash?" And Jack's sitting there smoking a big cigar and he goes, "Don't worry about that, kid, because you're on the payroll now." And that was it. My second film was much more loved, and it was a film called Time After Time. And then my third film was Melvin and Howard, which I won an Oscar for, directed by the great Jonathan Demme. By the time I won my Oscar, I'd had my first child, Lily, and so my life became a balancing act of making sure that I took care of my loves and my life, and then also, you know, keep a toe in the business. I met Ted several times over the years, and then in 1993, we did a movie together. It changed my life forever. And 25 years later, I would sign up for 1 million more lifetimes. I really would. I think about my young self and how in Arkansas, as a kid who didn't come from a family with a lot of money or experience a lot of things that gives you, I've never forgotten that I'm a woman from Arkansas, and so it means a lot.
Arkansans like Mary Steenburgen and Scottie Pippen have inspired the world with their performances. But the final run of the Carver Cobras is a testament that grandeur is not the measure of a legacy.
Carver meant everything. Just absolutely everything. I'm Larry Banks, and I was a Carver Cobra for the school year 69 and 70, and then for Stevens High School in 71. We had a lot of discussions around town about the schools we're going to integrate. This was the forced integration year, 71.
Most people in the black community lived on or around the hill that was on the other side of the highway, and most of the white community lived closer to the railroad tracks that were on the other side. So literally the two high schools were probably no more than 6 or 8 blocks apart, literally.
I played for Carver in 1969, 70 year, sophomore at the time. That was the last year that we played over there.
What was special about that team was the fact that there was a bond that developed with that group over the summer leading into the school year. We knew the schools were going to integrate the next year. We wanted a special year.
The blazing speed that they had was remarkable. I mean, you couldn't get from one end of the court to the other end of the court. to attempt a shot. About half the time they'd already stole it from me and scored a point, and then, now they steal it for me again. I've seen them steal it 6 or 8 times before anybody can make it past the half-court line. It's pure excitement.
We were up and down the floor. If you were not in shape, you couldn't play with us. We were in top shape. I had a couple of parents went to the superintendent on me because I was running them down the side of the road.
Coach Cross was special. Coach Cross was the type of coach that allowed the team to be the team. He knew he had good players, and he basically allowed us to play. It seemed that everyone in Stevens was there, white and black. It was rocking. People wanted to see this team Carver. The style of play, the character of play, the sportsmanship that we had.
We got Greenbrier in the final. Because see, they had the great big boy that went to Oklahoma State or somewhere, up at Tulsa or somewhere. And I said, y'all notice how tired he get? We got to keep him moving. I pulled Larry out to the wing. And so that brought him away from the goal. Now if we take a jump shot, I got a chance to get the rebound. And then he got tired. And when he got tired, we were able to get back ahead again. And when we got back ahead, I said, let's run that 4 corner. And he put that ball out there, and you come out there to get it, and you had to foul him, you make the free throws. Well, one thing I remember, we were a good free throw shooting team. When they fouled Ralph, I was laughing, and Ralph was laughing too. Because we made our free throws and won. They came out of those bleachers, and we were talking about a lot of people there. It was just great. And then when we finally got settled down and got headed back, the fire department, sheriff department met us at Ouachita County line, and they brought us on in. I'll never forget it like it was yesterday. It was cars and people all down the highway just waiting on us and yelling, you know, when we came through.
Anyone could feel the pride that people from Stevens had, white and black, having won a state title. Everybody was excited about about the accomplishment. What happened in 70 carried over into 71. When the schools came together, they were on a high as far as sports were concerned. Now, basketball was really the heart and the soul of Stevens during that time. So, without a doubt, going into the school year 71, everybody was anticipating a great year in basketball. This is not a Stevens story. It's not just a basketball story. This is a story that all of Arkansas can relate to when it comes to integration, how it happened, what happened, how it came about, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Thank you for celebrating these stories with us. What will your legacy be? That's all for this episode. Thanks for watching. And please take a moment to appreciate the people whose hard work has gone into making this show. I'm Dawn Scott, and we'll see you next time.